Hello everyone, welcome to Chess with M&M. Today we will see a game happened in 1973 between the wizard of the chess, Mikhail TAL, and the world champion of 1969, Boris Spassky. And in this game we will learn how the development is more important than capturing the pawns. So let's get started. Spassky with the white pieces and Tal with the black pieces. Spassky started by d4, queen pawn opening, knight to f6 by Tal, c4, e6, knight to c3 and bishop to b4. And here we seeing Tal going to the Nimzo Indian defense against queen pawn opening. Bishop to g5 by Spassky. Bishop to g5, this is the Leningrad variation in the Nimzo Indian defense. The idea from bishop to g5 is playing e3 without having a bishop on c1 closed on it by his pawns. So here developing the bishop first and then playing e3. This is the idea from the Leningrad variation. h6 by Tal, kicking this bishop on the g5. Bishop to h4 and c5, hitting the center and threatening c takes on d4. So here Spassky played d5, taking a space on the center, and b5 by Tal. The idea from this pawn sacrifice is taking the center. If you take c takes on b5, I will take by the e takes on d5, and I will have so nice control of the center squares. So here Spassky played d takes on e6 and f takes on e6 by Tal, not d takes on e6, because Tal here want to keep his e and d pawns to playing d5 and e5 and taking the center, and he want to opening the f file for the rook after castling. So here f takes on e6 by Tal, and Spassky accepted the gambit and played c takes on b5. Okay, take the center but give me the pawn on b5. d5 by Tal, taking the center and taking a nice controlling of the center squares. e3 by Spassky, trying to blocking d4 as he can and castling by Tal. Here Tal can play d4 in this position, but d4 here after e takes d4, c takes on d4, Spassky can play a3, and after d takes on c3, queen takes on d8, king takes on d8, a takes on b4, c takes on b2 and rook to b1. Here if we look into the position, we will see the black's king in the center, and he cannot castling, and in the next move the black will lose his pawn on b2. So for this reason here Tal didn't play d4 here, didn't play d4 and just castle it, preparing to d4 he will prepare to d4 in the future. And knight to f3 by Spassky. Knight to f3, developing his king side pieces to castling. Knight and queen to a5. Queen to a5, threatening takes on c3 and takes by the queen and then taking the rook. So here Spassky played bishop takes on f6 first, rook takes on f6 by Tal, and queen to d2, defending c3 square. And a6 by Tal, another pawn sacrifice. The idea from a6 is forced the white to take on a6 to develop his bishop on c6, because Tal cannot play knight to c6, sorry, his knight. Tal cannot play knight to c6 because there is pawn on b5 controlling this square, so a6 sacrificing a pawn to playing knight to c6. B takes on a6, Spassky accepted the sacrifice again, and knight to c6, support developing the knight and supporting d4 square for d5, d4 push in the future. And here Spassky played bishop to e2. Now bishop to e2, preparing to castling. And here Spassky thought Tal cannot play d4 because d4 square get controlled by 3 piece by the white, and the black just controlled the square by 2 pieces, so cannot play d4. This is what Spassky thought. But here actually Tal played d4, and after e takes on d4, here Tal surprised him by an amazing move actually. Pause the video and try to find the move which Tal played. If you found the move, congratulations, you are so good player and you are so aggressive player. The move is rook takes on f3. Rook takes on f3 is an amazing move. What's the idea from this move? The idea is taking the controller of d4 square, taking by the c and threatening the knight, which cannot move because there is a queen behind it. So here after rook takes on f3, Bishop takes on f3 and c takes on d4 by tal, threatening the knight. You cannot move your knight because you will lose your queen then. So here you cannot do anything. Here just castle it. D takes on c3, b takes on c3, bishop takes on c3, threatening the queen. Queen to d6, threatening the knight on c6 by the queen and by the bishop on f3, and rook takes on a6, retaking the pawn which sacrificed it, and bishop takes on c6. And here Tal didn't play bishop takes on a1, but he played bishop to b4, threatening the queen on d6, which it is the only defender of the bishop on c1. Now here, if you want to still defending the bishop, where will you gonna go? You cannot go to the c7 because it's controlled by my queen on a5. You cannot go to the d7 because it's controlled by my bishop on c8, and you cannot go to the d5 because it's controlled by my pawn on e6. So you will lose your bishop in the next move. So here Spassky, okay, decide let's play queen to b8, threatening the bishop. Rook takes on c6 by Tal, and here if we look into the position, we will see Tal has bishop pair against rook and pawn. So let's see, is the bishop pair more better from the rook and pawn or not? Let's see. Rook takes on c6 by Tal. Rook a to c1 want to trading the rooks, and bishop to c5. Bishop to c5 developing the bishop on the king's diagonal and not allow to trading the rooks. Rook to c2 protecting the pawn on a2 and preparing to bring the other rook to the c file. And queen to a4. Queen to a4 threatening the rook. Queen to b3 want to trading the queens. Queen to f4 I don't want to trading the queens. Queen to g3 let's trading the queens. Queen to f5 not all lot trading the queens, and rook f to c1. Rook f to c1 making a lot of pressure of the bishop on c5. So here Tal played bishop to b7. Bishop to b7 developing the bishop on a8 h1 diagonal, and here Spassky played queen to f3. Let's trading the queens. Queen to g5. I don't want to trading the queens, and queen to b3 by Spassky, threatening the bishop on b7. Rook back to c7 to protecting the bishop and threatening mate in 1 on the g2 square. So for this season here, Spassky played g3, and here Tal surprised Spassky by another amazing move. Pause the video and try to find the move which Tal played. If you found the move, congratulations, you are so good player. The move is bishop takes on f2. Bishop takes on f2. The idea from this sacrifice is opening this diagonal, a7 g1 diagonal, on this king on g1 to check him. So here after bishop takes on f2, king takes on f2, you have to take by the king. You cannot take by the rook. Rook takes on f2. If you take by the rook, you will lose your rook on c1. Rook takes on c1 check. You have to play to f1, and then after queen to c5 check, your king cannot move to anywhere, so you have to block with the queen, and then rook takes on e3 will be a mate. So for this reason you cannot take by the rook here, so you force it to take by the king, and here the party of the checks started on this poor king on f2 by queen to f6 check, queen to f6 check, king to e1, queen to e5 check, king to f1, bishop to a6 check, king to g1, queen to d4 check, king to g2, queen to e4 check, king to g1, and bishop to b7, threatening, preparing to play queen to h1 check, h4 trying to do something, trying to making some rooms for the king, but after bishop queen to h1 check, king to f2, rook to f7 check, king to e2, and after queen to e4 check, in this position Boris Spassky resigned the game. Why Spassky resigned the game? Because after queen to e4 check, here you have three choices: going to the d2 or d1 or blocking with the queen. If you block it with the queen, queen to e3, then I will play bishop to a6 check. You have to play king to d2, and after rook to d7 check, you have to go to the e1, king to e1, and queen takes on e3, rook to e2, you have to block by the rook, and then queen takes on e2 will be a mate. So here you cannot block with the queen, and if you go to the d1, I will play rook to d7, and after to d2, I will play queen to h1 check, king to c2, rook to c7 check, king to d3, and then queen to e4 will be a mate. And here, if you go to the d2, then I will play rook to d7. If you go to the c3, it will be a mate in 1, and if you block it with the queen, it will be a mate in 1 too. So here, for this reason, after queen to e4, Boris Spassky resigned the game. So hope you enjoyed the video and learn from it. Please don't forget us by the like and subscribe, and see you in the next video.